No way. He also know how to do perfect sitting. I gave you the warning. That was -1 +1 of yesterday. But he's not there, no?
First get everything ready, no? Make a case that he can only simply sign.
Speaker.
Let's roll, man.
Where is he?
All those who have no work are coming. 4 o'clock on. What is today? Wednesday? Thursday? चलना जल्दी ना.
Harsh words. People don't understand the power of words, Mikey.
Mikey. Move your asses, everyone. Just सबको round up कर.
Now we can't force more. So now whoever wants to be here is here. Free cake. No, it's fine. 3 people was the target for the first one.
Free.
Free cakes in the
Now
packet.
Deepak will start.
I think Deepak start.
Deepak, come, you come and cut the cake, man. Okay, we're rolling.
We're already live, so whoever is online is online.
Are you getting free cakes?
I don't know yet. Nobody, I think.
चारों तरफ इसी चला जाएगा और इधर बड़ा सा कम.
Free cake, you got two small.
Everybody can
Hey
see
guys,
them on
Mikey.
You just bring the beanbag आगे and sit down, no? You're
You
okay.
bag आगे ले आते हैं.
Come on, Deepak.
Back to the banner, back to the banner.
There is more. There is more.
That's a lip.
Okay, super.
Shall we start?
Yeah.
Okay. So, guys, so this presentation is not about the critical aspect of photography, like aperture, shutter, or something like that. The thing is, creativity matters and composition skills matters. It doesn't matter which camera you are using. It doesn't matter whether you are on cell phone or point and shoot or DSLR. It's just an instrument which extracts the creativity from you, and you can actually play with the conditions pretty well. But most important skill is composition skills. So how you place your subject, what are the surroundings, what are the lighting conditions. All those aspects should be, there in the photograph. And a good photograph is a photograph which tells something to you. It criticizes something, or it ignites some idea in your mind. So that's the intention of taking photographs. And this is the reason why, why Steve McCurry की photo जो थी हमेशा अच्छी होती है. Steve McCurry is the photographer who clicked the Afghan gun, National Geographic photograph, which is very young. So there are some rules of photography, and they are not hard and fast rules. But if you follow these rules, most of the time you will end up having a good photograph. And it's not like you can't break these rules. You can break these rules. You will get the good photograph, but 80%, 70% cases में ये rules चल जाते हैं. So it's just placement of the subject, or about the leading lines, about the how you should present the lines. So the first thing you should understand is the brightest point. The brightest point should be your subject, irrespective of whether your subject is under the light or the lamppost. Your object should be the brightest, because a viewer only sees the brightest spot first, then go to the surroundings. So one of the classic examples is this. So brightest object is the guy, and a viewer will follow the brightest light. Cool. Yeah.
One suggestion is probably you should throw some light on the foreground, midground, and background, and how you're placing the subject. Define whatever it is.
English.
Sorry?
say, generally, you just mentioned subject,
Hmm.
but I'm saying general tendency for everybody is that they just
Ah.
put it anywhere in the frame.
Yeah.
I'm saying people don't understand the
Composition part.
Yeah, maybe the foreground, midground, and background.
Yeah.
So you can probably put some light on that.
Yeah, so the idea is most of us actually see a photograph. If we are not viewer, we are not observer, then if we are clicking a photograph, then our main concentration is on the subject, irrespective of what's the foreground, what's the background, and we are happy with the subject. But think from a viewer point of view, whether he is able to see the exact thing you want to showcase in that photograph, like if I click a Harley Davidson, and I click that photograph. So it is meaningless if something is not around that bike. If Ferrari is standing beside it and you are clicking Harley Davidson, then you are projecting that bike is more powerful than a car. The experience of a bike is powerful than a car. You are conveying a message. So surroundings also plays a very important role in defining a message through a photograph. So more or less my talk would be how to place things, how to place subject or background of photograph.
What do you mean by foreground? Background is okay, the sky is the foreground.
So
What is
the
the foreground?
distant mountains are background or behind the subject is background. Foreground can be some flower or some
Something which is ahead of the subject.
ahead of the subject. So very basic rule, which is very important while shooting a subject, is rule of third. So rule of third is you are placing your object in 1/3 of the photograph. So why it is important? So this follows the golden ratio. So if you draw this Fibonacci series, and it is proved that most beautiful things are following golden ratio, which is ratio of consecutive numbers of a Fibonacci series. So your object should be covering 1/3 of the photograph, and rest should be the surrounding. I can give you more example of it. So this is clear differentiation between, like I place this thing in the middle of the photograph, the left one, and in right, it is placed slightly out of the center point. And all the things are pretty same, but it adds value. It certainly adds value. Now, clicking this photograph doesn't need any kind of technical aspect like what should be the aperture speed or something like that. But just placing the subject in the photograph, you can make a big difference like this.
So technically it means if I want to click anybody, instead of putting that person in the center of the
Center, yeah.
ticket, I'll probably put him in the right side or the left side.
Right or left side, 1/3 of the thing.
The point across. So one way of easily understanding where should you put your subject is to your rule of third. If you draw like two lines vertically and horizontally, the intersection points are usually the right places to place subject. Because, and they say that whenever you place an object at that intersection point, generally the person who looks at the photograph, their attention goes there first. So these are like strategies. So the easiest way to remember is just intersection points if you draw two lines. So that's why even on your camera, sometimes you have the option of putting a grid when you're shooting the pic. So you exactly know symmetrically how you should place it.
So these lines that you're talking about are equally distanced.
Yes, equally distanced.
They're
Absolutely.
in your camera, no? So
You
on
put
camera,
it-
you get those great lines, no? Which are basically rectangles.
Correct.
So where the it depends if it's square or rectangles if you're
I
shooting.
put the square.
iPhone थोड़ा सा primitive है. So where four squares touch, no? Those are the intersection points.
Okay.
That point where four of them touch. So that's where you want to keep your
Object.
Cool. Another example, rule of third. I click this photograph in Jaisalmer. Very nice shot.
And Ravi, you can pass the things on to you. You don't have to.
No, I-
So the one third piece doesn't come through over here, right?
Yes, that one.
As the
It
camera
does,
is
it's
in
the lower
focus.
left intersection point, somewhere close to the lower left intersection.
And one thing you can say, I should zoom in, but I zoomed out. I am projecting a
Which is
journey.
not a big thing because it's a long
So-
shot, it's an extreme long shot.
You're projecting a
Journey. So you should have a wide picture. So like people are going from one place to another place and it's a very long journey. So it's better to click that photograph and zoom out more. Same thing. Rule of third. Cool. Rule of third. Plus brightest point.
It's fine. That's your pick. That's nice.
Another thing is the symmetrical object. So how to shoot a symmetrical object? So symmetry is so the best way to click a symmetrical object is click the objects in such a way that it bisects your frame. So that's the reason why Taj Mahal is always clicked like this. It always bisects your frame exactly into parts. Exactly into parts.
Perfect symmetry.
Perfect symmetry.
This is for symmetrical objects.
For symmetrical objects.
So usually I think this works best when it comes to architecture.
In architecture, or on some bridge, like you are shooting a bridge and you are standing on that bridge. Like, place yourself in the middle of the bridge and click the photograph. You will get exactly symmetrical intersection of things. Symmetrical, exact symmetry. This is very important. So, clicking in this way, you are projecting how symmetrical the object is being built, the beauty of the symmetry. So you can click that photograph of the symmetry also, but you are not conveying that message. It's a symmetrical object. So message should be clear before you click. So you are clicking a symmetrical object and you want to convey that symmetry through your photograph. So rather going off symmetry, click that photograph and symmetrical thing off.
You might as well capture it perfectly well on
This is from Udaipur. Yeah. Exact.
This is yours?
No, you're right. Image. Diagonal lines. So another thing is how do you present that? How do you present lines? So it's like if you have different rectangles. If I want to shoot this this floor and the tiles are in rectangle, not rectangle. It's in square shape. Then if I click this photograph, aligning the lines to my frame, then it won't create any drama. So the best thing to shoot this kind of thing is I click it diagonally. So lines would be across the frame, but in a diagonal formation. So this will create. Yeah. So this is the reason why, although the photo could be straight or maybe not, but this is how we capture the lines. This one. This one.
So it could have been like this.
But it creates drama.
It creates some drama.
Drama.
The main subject and the background are separated from.
So imagine if this would be like straight or
Could you rotate it and
Vertical.
show the
No.
difference? No. I mean,
Yeah,
can you
just
show
show the
just
difference,
how
right?
it looks?
If you could rotate
If you rotate it. And...
I don't know.
Rotate नहीं होएगा.
नहीं होगा, नहीं वैसा नहीं होगा, वैसा नहीं होगा।
Basically boring होता है.
No, but just to
Lines.
show that it's going to look boring. Can you try that?
थोड़ा
Maybe you could
Just do
it.
कंप्यूटर को ऐसा करना.
नहीं.
कंप्यूटर को ऐसा करना.
Oh, because it will stay diagonal only.
If the picture is taken from one side of the snail, okay, if you are exactly parallel to the snail and then taken the picture,
Sorry?
it is two dimensional.
Microsoft Word. Sorry. Paint में paint.
easier this.
Easier is this.
Word
नहीं होगा.
You are right. It is boring.
Or else all of us will go like this.
That's what.
That is 90
90 degrees. No, they just wanted 90.
Okay, okay. Done.
Ryan, you get marks for that question. Class
Some
participation.
excitement.
This one. This is also.
Straight is boring.
Yeah. Straight and horizontal. And this is from Pushkar. Yeah. So if I would have clicked this, it is straightforward and won't be anything. Motion blur. Uni.
Speak up. What about it? No, you
It's your
talk
fault.
about the concept. Go ahead.
So, I would explain this by this thing. So, imagine this is F1 Formula race, and you want to click a car. If you click, so if you have a good camera which can capture at 1/4000 shutter speed, and you click that photograph, probably everything would be straight. But you are not adding value to the photograph if you are not capturing the motion of the car or the speed, the adrenaline rush. If you want to showcase that thing, you need to have motion blur. So it's a classic example of panning. This technique is called panning. So you are actually
Panning.
panning. You are following the object and you click that. So your
Panning.
object is in frame, but your background is moving along with the camera. So you create a background blur. In fact, motion blur.
How do you do this?
Yeah.
How do you?
No, it's correct. What she's saying is relative motion. So if this guy is moving, the background is stationary and the person in the boy is moving, correct? So when you are moving along, you are
moving your
along-
camera along with the.
along with the guy. So what happens is, relative to the camera, the man is stationary.
And the
The
background.
The background is-
background relative to the camera is moving. So you've actually created a reverse, which in a stationary frame shows motion.
So it shows that guy is moving or at one side.
But how did you click it then? So you also are on the moving.
No, I'm just.
You're tracking the
subject.
Because of the axis, what happens is you don't need to run completely. You just need to move so much. You are moving only so much, small bit. The field moves far greater.
Yeah.
Lever, Archimedes.
Angle. So this is Unil's photo and see Tito's.
No, I'm not there. I'm the one speaking here.
So
Well,
it's
you obviously were drunk.
yeah.
No, the rest of them were.
So the beauty of this
So obviously everybody's dancing and it's again motion blur picture. So yeah, though it's, and by the way, it's not taken with an SLR, it's taken with a point and shoot.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah, okay,
simple
point
basic
and
camera.
इसका लेंस निकलता नहीं.
Right. So again, if you keep your shutter speed really low, and in this, the cam was absolutely stationary, but the movement amongst the people was so much that we could anyway get motion.
So although this photo is blurred, but it's sending a message.
So this was taken at Tito's in Goa. So
No light,
to capture the drama in that particular environment, the whole idea was to not capture people dancing still.
Yeah.
Because if they are everybody looks stationary, even though like hands are up in the air and stuff. If everybody's stationary, the whole feel of the dance will come.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's this that creates a feeling of complete vibrational chaos.
Frenzy.
Yeah.
This is
Oh,
very
Raghu
beautiful
Rai.
photograph by Steve
Raghu
Mercury.
Rai.
Nah, Raghu Rai.
Raghu Rai photography.
Raghu Rai photography. Raghu Rai. So Raghu Rai is the guy who played Bhopal Gas Strategy and with the Dafnate
The child.
Yeah.
And you can see those all people sitting in the center, so it was still
Yeah.
next to the crowd.
That guy reading the newspaper.
Yeah,
It's a long shutter.
It's a long shot.
Exposure lamba.
So-
Even the last lecture.
So when you, for this kind of, what is?
You need a tripod. You need a tripod and
Or
two
extremely steady.
This is not possible. So
And
Or you
in case
place
you
it
don't have
on
a tripod,
you place it on a.
On stationary.
in case
So
there's
how much
no
is the
place where you
exposure?
can keep the cam? A hack could be to hold it right when it is.
yeah, exactly. But it's not possible with this. With
Yeah,
such a
something
low.
like this.
It's around 1 second.
No. It's like shooting a rifle. When you pull the trigger, you.
Or you just need to 1 second. But typically your trigger dabane ka also
Yeah.
is also
Counted
easy
in
to
shape.
check.
So for that you need a
Around
remote
2 minutes, you
You
put
need a
2
remote.
second timer. 2 second timer,
or
You
remote.
can hold it.
breathe. And then
So next is reflections. Early. So if you have some kind of reflection in your photograph, please capture those reflections. I don't know why, but it adds value.
it's a symmetry. It creates also symmetry.
So this is Bolivia, largest mirror in the world.
Mirror.
Yeah, largest mirror. It's Salt Lake. You can see your image. The same thing.
That was true.
Hmm?
That one was true.
See,
That's it.
leading lines. So this is very important concept. So leading lines are the lines which either go to your subject or crosses your frame. So if you want to capture something like that, probably you should start your leading line from one corner of the photograph so that it can cross your image. And the reason being it is important, viewer always follow leading lines. So the first image or the first look of a photograph is like it's going from there to there. So it's better to capture it in some corner of the photograph so that it can cross the frame. The same thing. You probably would start from this corner and would see, okay, the lines are going to the subject. The same thing.
What scene here?
So it's a balloon and people are standing in front of the lines. Lines are coming. Lines are converging towards the subject. Human element. So try to add a human element in the photograph. It's always helpful. Without human element. So if you remove this moth, probably the photograph would be pretty sad. It creates a value. Like this thing. Very messy photo, but the monk is coming from. It's from Steve Mercury saying that. This thing. Yeah. So the guard is protecting the belongings. In each photograph, if you remove the human element, the photo sucks. And so, last thing, I want to project some good photographs across the world who are captured by big photographs. This is Steve Mercury photograph from Indonesia or something. It's from India. In fact, from Bombay. Steve Mercury.
Diagonal lines.
Iraq War. Kalyan Verma from India. Opportunistic.
This is also Raghuram.
Sudan independence. Steve Mercury from Kerala. No, from Sri Lanka. And most controversial photo of all the time. So, this thing.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of the photographer, but he committed suicide after taking this photograph. That's all. Oh yeah. Good. Any questions? Any questions? No?
Yeah, I had one. You were telling me the experience that you had of nude photography.
Oh.
Yeah, no, about it.
That's a question.
Neeta, trust you to be the cake.
He was telling me I was just shy.
As those only paints for you.
No. Objection.
You fell for it.
What?
Neeta's waiting
She
for the
had a
answer.
question.
Yeah.
Question, yeah.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं होगा. अनिता की बात seriously.
Why are you shy?
It's okay, we're talking.
Neeta, were you in Goa that time?
Like, don't ask me that question. Don't ask me that question in front of the group.
Sure.
Thank you everyone. The idea basically, thank you people, but the idea basically is to just get every week people come and share like their interests and their passions and then each one of us. So it's definitely not forced, so we're just gonna come and announce once and then get people to come. But whatever topics are of interest to you and you're keen on like learning about or talking about, please let me know. And it's really not just about even this, but anything that you have or interested in, like clubs or groups or things that you want to do. Like this is the one channel now that we can group these things through. So please write to me also if you all have these ideas or suggestions also. That would be awesome. But thank you and looking forward to more ideas. We have one idea more for a chai coffee talk 2 weeks from now. But if you all have any other ideas, like write to me. Yeah? Thank you.
Where is the chart? Next one is on chart tasting session. Charting.
Start in the
Thank you for watching if any of you all have watched.